We're back to the third game of the Plaquemines Parish Jamboree. The Belle Chase Cardinals taking on the Boothville Venice Oilers. The ball coming down to Boothville, and number 21, Melvin McGee, he's going to take it around to the 25-yard line. And Coach, why don't you give us the captains before tonight's game?
The captains for Boothville, Cody, were Kyle the Kite Franklin, number 14, Melvin McGee, number 21.
Friday evening at Fort Jackson, as I was going through the stadium, meeting people and talking and all, it came to my mind, you know, as I was walking through there and talking to people, that perhaps I should be mentioning to the crowd and the people that I met that they should be watching the news and the weather programs to make sure that they understood what we might be facing. So I spent the evening, you know, watching the game, but also telling people to pay attention to the weather and make sure that they knew that we may have to evacuate the parish. So that's when it was at the back of my mind, and also came to the point to where I should start telling people.
I was at the Jamboree football game that night. It was a Friday night. All the schools in South Plaquemines was playing down there. And I was just discussing some discussions with a few guys that I've been knowing for years. And all of a sudden I heard Miss Barbara Hicks, say, "Oh my God," and I'm like, "What's wrong, Miss Barbara?" She says, "I'm on the phone with my husband saying that Katrina is heading towards our way."
We officially inform you that it's a meeting at 7:30 a.m. conference.
Thank you. That was Mr. Benny. That was Mr. Roussel, our parish president, in attendance here at tonight's Jamboree, informing the public that we want to keep an eye on the hurricane presently in the Gulf. So stay tuned. Thank you.
One of the many officials who comes up to talk to us every now and then. Apparently it doesn't look good, but of course, when this airs, let's hope that the whole storm is behind us already.
Late Friday afternoon, when the computer models from the National Hurricane Center started coming together, showing, and there are 5 separate models that were being used at the time. They rarely all agree. All 5 of them showed that the track was moving further to the west and that we would receive some effects of it. As it became fairly apparent that the lower part of the Mississippi River was going to be the target, the heightened awareness from the National Hurricane Center and the state was increased. I received a phone call which basically said, under the current track, we're going to get almost a direct impact.
You know, the real fear came in when you see a Category 5 barreling down on the Gulf, and then all of a sudden you see that cone directed directly to the southern part of Plaquemines Parish. So, you know, the emotions that were there that morning were so much more than we have seen and experienced in the past because of the strength of the storm and the projected path, that it made us want to have that emergency evacuation order called immediately without a second guess. But at 9 o'clock was the time that we called the mandatory evacuation. And from the conference call that we had, the decision was made that we go ahead and make that call. And we issued that mandatory evacuation effective 9 a.m. Saturday morning.
So I really didn't know if we had to do an evacuation, what type of response we would get. The answer